Did this guy just build a machine that generates infinite energy in his own garage? No, that's impossible, according to the first and second law of thermodynamics. Remember, the greatest innovations are made by those who dare question the facts. Well, that's just misinformation. This free energy wheel uses bottles whose water is continually poured down by gravity to endlessly spin the wheel. And this isn't the first time someone came up with this. In 1159 AD, an Indian mathematician named Bhaskara the Learned came up with a concept for this exact design, Bhaskara's wheel. It had curved reservoirs filled with mercury instead of water, but based on the same principle. He reasoned that as the wheel spun, the displacement of mercury would flow to the bottom of each reservoir in such a way that one side of the wheel would be perpetually heavier than the other, the imbalance causing it to spin forever. This is one of the first ever designs for a perpetual motion engine, a device that can do some sort of work forever without external energy applied, like a windmill producing its own breeze, or a light bulb powering its own solar panels, a magnet attached to a car pulling itself, or this man pushing a truck from inside the trunk. I think you can see why this wouldn't work. The physics behind it show that the moving parts that make one side of the wheel heavier also shifts the center of mass of the wheel downwards. What that means is it'll spin for a bit and then just swing back and forth until coming to a complete stop in practice. The reason it can't go on forever is due to the first two laws of thermodynamics. The first law is energy conservation. Energy can't be created or destroyed. And in a perfect world, if we can just put 100% of the energy a device produces back into running itself, this should be possible, right? That's where the second law stops us, entropy, which states that energy tends to spread out and dissipate in many different forms, like waste friction or heat as time goes on. So as the wheel moves through gravitational force, it experiences air resistance, friction, and waste heat, energy that is not put back into the gravitational force that is running the wheel and hence dissipates over time. It's why Newton's cradle doesn't go on forever, and why this wheel doesn't work. He even admits in his video that he had a battery in the wheel that kept it spinning. It's fake. But are there other designs for infinite energy engines out there that have been suppressed from the public? Inventors have tried over the generations to come up with the perfect perpetual motion machine, several variations of the original wheel, and even other creative ideas. And some of them actually kinda work. The first one ever made predates even Bhaskara, with Greek mathematician Archimedes in 200 BC, who discovered the displacement of water in his bathtub as he went inside it, allegedly inventing the word eureka at the same time. Obvious today, but this was a huge discovery back then, the Archimedes principle, which they tried to use to build the first ever perpetual motion engine in history. The Archimedes sphere was a round chamber with water and a buoyant ball attached to a metal rod inside. The metal rod drags the ball down and the ball pushes itself out of the water from buoyancy. I won't bore you with the math, but the calculations show that you could just spin this once and it'll go on forever due to Archimedes' principle. And in theory, it should, if it wasn't for pesky friction of the water on the glass and the waste heat of the spinning rod getting in the way. That leaves the device as waste energy until it comes to a complete stop. But science didn't give up. We're gonna find a way to make this perpetual motion engine if it's the last thing we do. Like everyone's favorite mad scientist Nikola Tesla, who actually patented an unlimited energy machine in 1901 called the apparatus for the utilization of radiant energy, made from an antenna that you can make from plywood, a sheet of foil, copper wires, and a capacitor to store the energy. The antenna should be placed up high, like on a roof, connected to the capacitor and grounded. The capacitor should charge up slowly from the luminiferous ether, electromagnetic waves from solar radiation, cosmic rays, and Earth magnetic poles. And it works, confirmed by many tests done online. It technically uses external energy to power itself, so not exactly perpetual, but did we just solve our world's energy crisis? Yeah, but you'd need a whole day of power just to charge your phone with an antenna the size of a football field. So not practical whatsoever, as we'd run out of space fast, but still cool, we're making progress. More recently, in 2021, German scientists demonstrated the use of what they called time crystals, a microscopic system of quantum particles that change state over time and can in fact theoretically go on like this forever. They don't generate energy, but also don't lose any either from expected friction or heat, which is huge for an object doing work. The main obstacle to perpetual motion were systems losing energy when doing work over time. This doesn't. They're still figuring it out, but oh, we're so close. We're gonna make this infinite energy machine, I tell ya. Because there's something in nature that actually does appear to violate the conservation of energy. Black holes. This scientific paper states that the expansion of the universe can make certain black holes expand faster than the Hawking radiation they produce that shrinks them. I know, it took me a while to wrap my head around that. In theory, this process gains more energy than it loses, so if we could just take a black hole and stick it into an engine, that might work. Who knows, maybe we'll find new exotic forms of matter in the future that could bend the rules of perpetual motion to finally crack the code. Or maybe we already have. Enter zero-point energy, the suspected technology behind UFOs that provides seemingly unlimited energy, moves objects outside the realm of known physics, travels faster than light, and even through time. Powered by quantum fluctuations in space-time, particles that act like waves which blink in and out of existence, another highly suppressed field of research. Keyword keyword here, quantum, because quantum can bend the laws of thermodynamics while still respecting them and doesn't need to obey classical physics. I'll go into this very soon, because 0 point energy isn't just game changing, it's reality changing.